Hello everyone, Nightlight9 here, and today's video is going to be over how to defeat Sephiroth Ex2, which is the final stage for solo battle on Sephiroth in the Critical Threat event that just started a couple days ago. So, getting started, one of the things that I want to point out, he does this move repeatedly called Octaslash. It's one of the ones that, it telegraphs that it's coming and you see the circle counting down. It is a physical attack move. So physical defense is important. The other thing that's important is HP. And so I've tried to put on equipment and sub-equipment essentially that have high amounts of physical defense and HP for this fight. I think that the minimum amount you really want to try to aim for is about 5,000 on a character. I have, kind of evened it all out between them all. Aerith's physical defense is a little bit low, but I think 5,500 should be enough to absorb it. You just need to be able to make sure you can survive it so that you can heal afterwards. So as far as equipment, again, I just went with HP, physical defense when possible. And that's how I set that up. As far as the sigils and materia in general, the number one thing that I was focused on was the sigils. So ultimately you are going to need all three of the main sigils to break those. You need the triangle, the circle, and the X. Now circle is present in, I'm going to say there's 3 phases to this fight. There's actually 4, but 3 of them are Sigil Break phases that you need specific sigils broken. Circle is going to be one that always has to be broken in all 3 phases. Otherwise, phase 1 and 2 also require triangle to be broken, and phase 3 requires the X to be broken. So here, I've just set up Barret with an X break, as well as a circle break, and then also Blizzara, which I'll get to in a moment. Cloud, I've got him on X break and the triangle break, and with Masamune, he gets the extra count on that, so he's going to be my primary triangle breaker. Aerith also has circle, which is pretty much the only one I'll cast. I've got the X on her in case it's necessary, but it typically isn't. I just need her for the circle break. Again, I also have Blizzara on Aerith, and I'm using the summon Shiva with Wideout 5 for this fight for Cloud's Limit. If you have Diamond Dust, that's even better, and even a level 1 Diamond Dust does more damage than a level 5 Whiteout. If you are still trying to get Diamond Dust, you can watch my video on how to clear Very Hard Shiva so that you can unlock that. Very helpful, because ultimately it does become a DPS race in this fight, and you will want to do as much damage as possible, and we will do the most damage during phase 2 when he has a brief weakness to ice. We're going to go ahead and get into the fight now, and I will show you how it's done. First thing, I will always use either semi or manual, and I will control Aerith probably the entire fight, if not at least the majority of it, because keeping people topped up is going to be important. When he does the Octaslash, it will do a bare minimum, even at the very beginning, of half the health of whoever he targets, so it is very important that they have as much health as possible. And here's a trick: you can go to manual if you really want to save her bar. I always like to usually like to switch it back to semi right before the end, which I missed, and the reason for that is because otherwise it will cast Saving Grace, which is usually not timed properly, or it doesn't leave enough time for me to build the bar up. And if you'll see, obviously, because I was on manual, I didn't have the defense stance selected, which is definitely not optimal, and Barret, with the most health on the team, nearly died because of it. Whenever the Sigil Break comes up, it's usually pretty important to do that. You get the ATB burst afterwards, so you can always get your guys kind of healed up immediately following the Sigil Break. But an important thing to point out is that the weaknesses that occur only exist while the sigils are unbroken. So if you completely break all the sigils, that weakness goes away. So here comes the fire infusion, which now makes him weak to ice. And so I'm going to sneak in just as much ice damage as I can get in before I completely break him, because I know that that weakness will go away afterwards. So you definitely want to be able to get the whiteout in, or the diamond dust, before you completely break the sigils in phase 2. That's how to do the maximum amount of damage. So now, just keeping everybody topped up, he's sitting around 60% HP, which is fine. He's going to have one more phase where he will do a water infusion, and he will be weak to lightning. It's another reason I like the Masamune for this fight, because it gives lightning potency to Cloud. It also allows him to do a lightning attack, which, if he can sneak any of those in, is just a little bit better for the DPS. And so here it is, the water infusion. Kind of focusing on the sigil still, but also I don't want to usually clear him too quickly, because I do want to get in as much damage as possible. And like I said earlier, the weakness goes away once you break all of the sigils. However, you also don't want to get into a situation where he gets that move off. It does a pretty big amount of AoE damage. And if your team is strong enough and healthy enough, you can heal through it, but it is not an ideal situation to be in. Here, I'm going to go ahead and cast Saving Grace. If you notice that you're around the halfway mark of his move, you can do it. It'll still be in effect the defense up when he casts this. Just kind of helping take a little less damage, but ultimately you want to be able to cast the heal as shortly afterwards as you can, just to prevent anyone from dying. There's not going to be another chance for a nice weakness, so now I'm just going to try to make the biggest combos as fast as possible. He's done the first 3 phases, so now he'll be in phase 4, which just repeats kind of over and over again with some new moves tossed in. Phase 4 is called Masamune and Waiting, and it basically can be broken. Like, every sigil is effective, but you have a lot less time to do it. And then eventually, after he does it, I think after starting this first time, he starts also getting magic up. And so you do want to get in as many of the things you can to damage him before that happens. Just so you can do the most DPS, because what happens is he'll do Boundless Strength, he gets physical attack up, and he's going to do another Octaslash. These Octaslashes, though, start getting stronger and stronger, and eventually, if not by the second one, by the third one, he will just one-shot whoever it is. It doesn't matter how much HP, how much defense you put on him, he'll just start kind of just blowing them away. So here you are at a point where you're going to have to start doing just as much DPS as you can. And so I'm only going to focus on some heals if I absolutely think that somebody's going to die, and for the most part, I'm just going to keep trying to DPS him down. And again, when you get this far, knowing that the Octaslash only hits one person kind of works to your advantage, because there is no, it doesn't matter if everybody's alive. You're not really going for a high score here. You're just trying to clear it one time because you get the initial rewards, you get the tickets, so the draw tickets. You also get the crystals. So there you have it, and that is the entirety of the fight. If you have any questions on party or any other strategies, feel free to drop a comment, let me know. I always appreciate it if you like my video, if it helped you out, and if you'd like to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe. Thank you very much.